All right, guys, we are back with the Coach Sam Show. If you're listening to this right now, you have signed up for the trial. So fathers and sons, we're going to pick up where we left off. This is the second video. That first video was you over me. Now this second one is victor over victim. What does it look like to value being a victor, meaning an overcomer, meaning a warrior, meaning a winner, over being a victim, right? The victor says, I can overcome. The victim says, the world is against me. Which one are you going to embody? Let me give you an example real quick. Okay? I want you guys to pay attention to this. Sons, if you were picked up by some mean person and thrown into a deep hole, okay, and that hole was 100 feet deep, right? You're thrown into a deep hole and you stayed there for 1 week. Whose fault is it that you're in the hole? Whose fault is it? So you were picked up by a mean man and thrown into a hole, and you stayed there for 1 week. Whose fault is it that you're in the hole? Is it the mean man's fault that you're in the hole, or is it your fault? Now, the reason I believe it's actually your fault, it's not your fault you got thrown in. You got thrown in and that was unfair. But it's your fault that you stayed there. It's your fault that you stayed in that hole and you didn't climb and scratch and claw your way out. See, the truth is we're going to have some things in life that happen to us that are really, really difficult and sometimes unfair. You've probably heard your parents say this before. Life is not always fair. And you might get thrown into a hole. I hope it doesn't happen, but in this world, you will have trouble, right? But you can't stay there. You've got to climb out of it. Sometimes you getting thrown into the hole, it's our own fault. Maybe sometimes we make a poor decision and it puts us in a hole. That happens. We get it. There's grace. But it's your fault if you stay there. We've got to be able to climb out. And even more importantly, let's look to the one who has already overcome on our behalf. And his name is Jesus. He says, in this world, you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world. You guys get to overcome any obstacle because he has already done it. He has already done it, and he lives inside of you. When you accept Jesus as Savior, when you accept his gift, his Spirit lives inside of you, and he says, we are more than conquerors through him, meaning Jesus, who gives us strength. I'll tell you this quick little story about Paul. And you can read this in the Bible, but Paul was promised by God that he would get to this city in Rome, that he would get to Rome, right? He was going to make it there. And in Rome, in this city of Rome, he was going to spread the gospel of Jesus. Well, that promise happened. And then he went through all of this hardship before he actually reached the fulfillment of that promise. One of those obstacles was his ship on the way to Rome. And after about 8 years of different things that had happened, his ship on the way to Rome, when he's finally almost there, it crashes and they land on this random island. Well, what does he do? Does he whine? Does he complain? No. He thanks the Lord and he sees awesome miracles even happen on that island. So guys, no matter what is thrown at you, no matter what happens, you are victorious because Jesus lives inside of you. Don't forget it for 1 second. So during this trial, remember, the Lord is with you. He is for you. He has made you an overcomer. So no matter how hard it gets, remember who you are. You are a son of the highest King, and his Spirit lives in you when you accept his gift and that free gift of salvation that was paid for on the cross. Jesus is the ultimate overcomer, and through him, we become overcomers. Go be an overcomer in the trial. See you guys soon.